killing people, Pascoe echoed wearily. Could you be a touch more specific? I can, said Elgood. I will. Suddenly he relaxed, smiled with great charm, displaying 2 large gold fillings. Mr. DL spoke very highly of you when I rang, said Elgood. I won't hide that I'd rather be talking to him, but if Andy DL says you're all right to talk to, then that's good enough for me. And Mr. DL told me that anything you had to say was bound to be worth listening to, said Pascoe. What DL had actually said was, I haven't got time to waste on Dandy Dick this morning, so I've landed him with you. Look after him, will you? I owe him a favour. I see, said Pascoe. And you repay favours by not letting people see you? DL's eyes glittered malevolently, and Pascoe added, What precisely does this chap Elgood want to talk to us about? Christ knows, said DL. Take him serious, lad. He came out from nowt. He's sharp, he's influential, he's not short of a bob or two, and he's a devil with the ladies. At that moment, DL had been summoned to the urgent meeting with the ACC, which was his excuse for not seeing Elgood. I'll need some background, Pascoe protested. Who is he, anyway? What's he do? But DL had only smiled. You'll have seen his name, lad. I'll guarantee that. Then he'd gone. Can we get down to details, Mr. Elgood? This man we're talking about. He works for your company, you say? Now, your work. What does that involve, precisely? My work, said Elgood. I'll tell you about my work. I went into the army at 18 and went off to look at the world through a rifle sight. Well, when I came out, I put a bit of cash together and I had a mate. We put our heads together to try to work out what would be best to do. In the end, we settled on something to do with the building trade. So you went into building, said Pascoe, with a sense of achievement. Did I, buggery? Protested Elgood. Me and me mate stumbled on this little business just about closed down. They made potware. Mainly them old jug and basin sets. You'll likely have seen them in the antique shops. Jesus, the price they ask makes me weep. Elgood ware, exclaimed Pascoe. On the lavatory bowls, I've seen it. I've no doubt you have if you've been around these parts long enough to pee, said Elgood smugly. Lavs, wash basins, baths, sinks, we did the lot. We expanded like mad. Then, to cut a long story short, we got taken over. My partner wanted out, and ICE made a hell of a generous offer, with me guaranteed to stay in charge. Some people write their names on water, Mr. Pascoe. I wrote mine under it, mainly, and it's still there when the water runs away. Pascoe smiled. He was beginning to like the man. And the company's name, was it ICE, you said? Industrial Ceramics of Europe, that means, said Elgood. The UK domestic division's my concern. Brand name Perfecta. Of course, said Pascoe. I've driven past the works. And it's there that these, killings are taking place. I never said that. But he's there. He. Him as does the killings. Pascoe sighed. Mr. Elgood, I've got to have some details. Can we start with a name? His name? The one who's doing the killings? Elgood hesitated, then... It's Aldermann. Patrick Aldermann. Patrick Aldermann stood in his rose garden, savoured the rich bouquet of morning air, and counted his blessings. There were more than a dozen of them. It was one of his favourite HTs, but there were many close rivals. Doris Testerman, so elegantly shaped, glowing in rich tangerine, Wendy Cussons, wine red and making the air drunk with perfume. In his early 30s, Patrick Aldermann presented to the world a face unscarred by either the excoriant lavas of ambition or the slow leprosies of indulgence. It was a gentle, almost childish face. His daughter appeared on the terrace and shouted shrilly, "Daddy, Mummy says I'll be late and Miss Dillinger will be unpleased with me." Aldermann smiled. Miss Dillinger was Diana's teacher at St. Helena's, a small private school. Miss Dillinger's expression of displeasure, "I am unpleased," had passed into local moneyed middle-class law. Normally, Daphne Aldermann drove her daughter to school in her own VW Polo, but 2 days earlier it had been scratched.